What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about some Scream 7 numbers. Now, leading into this thing, right, there's a lot of back and forth, and there still is a lot of back and forth, and I want to talk about that just a little bit in this video, but I will say there was even a part of me that was very, very curious, at least curious. You could probably say other words, but at least curious as, like, how this will go. You know, I'm not really one that buys into, kind of like the Hollywood star. I know we've talked about that a lot, even going into, I think, Scream 5, Scream 6. You know, I made videos about, like the star power of Jenna Ortega. And it's not to say she's not talented. She is. But what's there? And does star talent matter? Can that get butts into seats? Like losing her, does it lose $10 million? Does it lose $5? But I've kind of always been pro. It doesn't really matter. I think a lot of this stuff relies on the movie being good or bad, and we'll go through that more as we get closer because I have more things to say with like the Jenna and Melissa thing, but specifically going into the trailer views, and yes, they are only views, but the thing is, I think when you compare it to other views, you're fine. It's not necessarily to say, oh, the box office is going to do, X or Y. And, I want to be careful with that stuff because, again, you just don't know. So, okay, all that stuff is being said. So we're going into Scream 7's trailer. It comes out, and how does it do? It does unbelievably well. And that makes me very happy. Definitely makes me happy. It kind of does like make me like take a breath, and it's like, okay, we can all kind of relax. And again, it's not to say the box office is guaranteed to go, any which way, but I think I'm definitely a little bit more like, because this is a testing period, right? Where it's like, are people not going to watch the trailer, say because of the Melissa and Jenna stuff? And by the way, not to always make it about that, it's the 7th installment, and I've seen this too with a lot of people, and I think so many of these fighting things gets kind of merged together. I see so many people talking about the redundancy of Scream and whatnot, when in reality, if Melissa and Jenna were in Scream 7, some of those people that are really just doing it because they're mad about that, right? They would say, oh, there's no big deal, even though right now it's a redundancy issue, right? There's too many of these movies, but if Jenna and Melissa were in it, that wouldn't be a problem anymore. Those are called two-faced people, right? You can't stay consistent. And so the movie broke records in terms of the trailer. Now, again, we keep saying over and over, like, what does it matter? It can kind of matter, I guess, whatever you want it to matter, but want to go over some stats from a follower of mine over on Twitter who just does a freaking phenomenal job of keeping track with this TV tweets. So the most recent update, which I appreciate these, episodic, kind of update things. This was 8 hours ago when I'm recording this. So on the first day of release, the Scream 7 trailer got 16 million views on TikTok, 13 million on Instagram, 11 on Twitter, 11 on Facebook, 10 million on YouTube. In all, that's 61 million views, and that's only on official posts. That's huge to remember, by the way. No Scream trailer has come close to that on day one. Insane. Now, I wouldn't blame you if you say, well, those are numbers, but like, what does it actually, like, can you take them at their word? I would take them at their word, but I know not everybody would, and that's okay. I think that's fair. How does it actually compare to some of the old ones? Now, in terms of the tweets we're going to look at, this is a little while ago. I think Scream 6's trailer eventually got, I think, to 18 million. But again, like, you have to remember, like, the distance and the length and how long the Scream 6 trailer has been out compared to the Scream 7. I'm very much in terms of, I like these comparisons when you keep it very similar, right? So how does 6 do in the first 10 hours versus Scream 7's trailer in the first 10 hours? Now, I don't think they got that specific, but we got specific enough. So let me read you some other tweets. So here's a good one. The Scream 7 trailer has 6 million views on Twitter so far, almost 4 million on YouTube, and that's only after 8 hours. In comparison, Scream 6 had 1.5 million views on YouTube after the first day. Here's another one from Ju Jahara. Scream 7's official trailer on YouTube has officially surpassed Stranger Things in just 24 hours. Scream 7 had 9.2 million views. Stranger Things has 9, plus 12 million views on the official Scream Instagram, and 1.2 million likes on TikTok. Now, look, I'm not saying that Stranger Things is going to always stay behind. In fact, honestly, at the time I'm recording this, it could have changed. The one thing I would actually say there is a lot of the insiders were so concerned that because and I think Stranger Things trailer did come out before in the same day. I think it leaked the day before. They pulled it and then they put it back up, and they did that Thursday morning, but I think it was like an hour before Scream. So it had that hour gap. And then also it is a bigger thing. I mean, like, isn't Stranger Things like the biggest, Netflix show of all time, or at least it was at some point? So like, I guess the point there is that so many people were convinced in the insider community that Scream was specifically going to stay away from that day because they didn't want to be overshadowed from Stranger Things. And okay, maybe we're like cherry picking certain stats, but like in those stats, Scream actually beat it, which is unbelievable. Again, Stranger Things comes out first. In fact, the entire thing is going to end before Scream 7 even comes out. So will that trailer pick up steam and ultimately end up beating it? Of course it will. But for the first day metrics and beating something that was legitimately looked at as bigger than you, like that was the thing you wanted to avoid, and yet Scream 7 beat it. I think that's kind of the big deal there. And so look, ultimately, the Scream 7 numbers are beating the Scream 6 numbers. It's only a day and a half, 2 days, whatever it might be at the time you're watching this. There's still time to go, but at this pace, like, Scream 7 is doing outrageous. And it looks like, again, it kind of depends on which one you're looking at, but even say YouTube, like it probably could maybe not double, but easily outpace the views of Scream 6. But let me say this, one thing I would argue, and I've argued this with games before too, right? So like a game comes out, but before a game comes out, it gets trailers, okay? And anybody can watch the trailer. And it's the same thing for a movie. Anybody can watch the trailer. It's free. Okay? It's free. You can watch it as many times as you want. I mean, me alone, and I probably, you guys have outpaced me by a lot. I mean, I watched that thing maybe 8-9 times yesterday. Like when I was making that breakdown, I just watched it over and over to try to, pick it apart. I will probably watch it in all maybe 10 to 15 times, okay? So I'm not going to go see Scream 7 in theaters 10 to 15 times, right? That'd be a lot of money, whereas watching the trailer is free. And I've said that for games, a trailer getting 8 million views, okay? Which would be a pretty darn good, like, game trailer, okay? Say a game trailer gets 8 million views. The game probably is selling less than half of that. It probably gets 2, 3, 4 million people that buy it. Maybe even lifetime, it gets 2, 3, 4 million people buying it. Okay, so what gives? Why? Well, it's because watching it's free. You can do it as many times as you want. You have freaks like me, that watch it too much and make videos on it. So it's inflated, in that way. But okay, what I want to say to that, though, that's interesting to me with Scream 7 is, well, what do we talk about with, why do we compare it in the first place? Well, I think a lot of it's the boycotts, right? And well, what is a boycott? A boycott specifically is ignoring it, which a lot of these people fail miserably at, but it's ignoring it. It's not talking about it. It's not, to be fair, it's not supporting it. That's the number one thing. And now I will tell you, by the way, I don't know how these metrics work because I've never actually thought about them until right now. So watching like a trailer on social media, so like a video on YouTube getting, say, 15 to 20 million views with ads, which the trailers have, that's a lot of money. Now, it's not like the budget of the movie or anything, but you're making some considerable dough. I guess the only like nitpicking there, the thing I'm nitpicking is, so even if these people that claim to hate it and claim to boycott it, if they're watching that trailer, you could argue, well, it's free. You're not paying them anything, and you're not going to give them any money in the theaters, so the trailer view doesn't matter, because of all of that. Number one, I question how serious you are about the boycott because you're watching the trailer. That is a form of support because you're giving it that extra view, right? That extra metric. You left a dislike. Okay, dislikes actually mean the same thing to YouTube on a YouTube video that likes do. And I've been around a long time, everybody. I know this quite well. A dislike is the exact same. It's just an engagement. If a video gets 500 dislikes versus 500 likes, it's the same thing to them. So point being, you have all that, and then you also, for every view, you get whatever it might be, 0.0001 cents, but you're giving them money, in that way. So you can nitpick it, but I would say to go really deep into that area. Number one, you're kind of helping them, and you might not even know it. And number two, the thing that's the difference, right? Again, between my gaming kind of comparison to this is, in this case, yes, okay, you have millions of people that are watching the trailer that will not watch the movie. That is true. That is true because, again, not everybody that watches a trailer is going to go out and support the thing, buy the video game, go watch the movie in theaters. I do get that. But number one, it's actually doing more numbers than Scream 6. So even if there's a comparison, or even if there's like a literal stat to it, okay, it's 52% of people that watch a trailer watch the movie. Okay, say that's the number. Well, if the trailer number for 7 is bigger than 6, more people would then see it in theaters based off that. And then again, the whole point of a lot of our concern, worry, depending on like the kind of person you are, right? How much you let it get to you. But you know what? For me, again, it was something that I was legitimately interested in. What would the, kind of reception be? And the reception's been mixed as well. I want to talk about that in the next video. But, I guess also numbers, like how would it literally perform? And a big part of this entire situation is people not wanting to watch it. So when it gets more views, it's like, okay, well, what did that actually do? Either you watched it and you said you weren't going to, or by you saying you weren't going to, you actually got more people to watch it. There are kind of reverse boycotts. Those things do exist. Hogwarts Legacy as a video game had that. So, interesting stuff. Ultimately, I don't want to make 1,000 videos on this stuff. As you could tell with the breakdown video, I'm heavily passionate, into it, and I want to make a lot of videos on it, on my theories, and on positive stuff, which I will do. And we'll talk about kind of the overall reception to the trailer in my next video on Scream, but wanted to throw this together because I think it's interesting. It's outperforming 6, which outperformed 5, right? So it's like I'm really interested to see how this does in the box office. I think I had said before, like I would not have been surprised if it was the same as 6 or actually slightly less, but not like a disaster, just maybe 5, 10, 15 million less than 6, which would still be considered a success. I will say with the trailer stuff, I don't know. Again, it doesn't guarantee anything, but I would actually not be surprised if the movie made more money than 6. And not necessarily because of like a reverse boycott or anything like that, or because Nev is more popular than Jenna and Melissa, because I actually don't really think that's true either. But it's just, again, maybe the movies are just more popular. Maybe horror is in a better place, say, when 7 comes out than when 6 came out. A lot of different, things can do it. So I'm sure we'll talk about it more, as we get closer. But let me know what you guys think. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.